3 years ago,
My baby is kicking, and I wanted to record the evidence. So here we go. Oh, there it is.
Today, Dina Magrudy, his estranged wife, is speaking publicly for the first time.
Today is May the 1st, 2007, and I am carrying a baby boy.
About the smile, because that's what every woman I know. I don't know if men thought about it, but I do know every woman. Did not every woman in here think that? Why is she standing there, and why is she smiling? And on page 215, you write that Jim looked over at me and said, "Make sure you smile a little more when I ask for forgiveness." Yes, let me finish, people. Make sure you smile a little more when I ask for forgiveness, and thank you for bringing joy to my life. I didn't reply. All I could think about was trying to be brave.
Keep kicking, son.
I had thought I could do it, but now I didn't know. I pasted something next to indicate a smile on my face and vowed that I would keep it there as long as we were in public. And that's what you did. I smiled because he told you to smile.
I smiled because I didn't want to break down, but, you know, as his world was falling apart, he was still choreographing the entire day and how everything would play out. Told me when to smile, what to say if I was asked a question by reporters.
What were you supposed to say?
Well, he said if they ask you what you think of gay marriage, say you're sensitive to the issue. My world was falling apart, and this man was telling me to be sensitive
to the issue.
To the issue.
Yeah.
He was telling me what to do, and he said, "You have to be Jackie Kennedy today." And I'm thinking, Jackie Kennedy, her husband was murdered. He lied and cheated on me, and now I have to be Jackie Kennedy?
Was there ever a moment or time, though, when, before you got in the car, because you drove together to the press conference, was there a time when all of these discussions were taking place within the 3 days from the time he first came to you, to the time where you were in the car, that you thought, I'm not going? Was it always assumed that you were just going to go?
No.
No.
I, thought about it. I spoke to a therapist, and, but I was at war. I didn't know.
And the therapist said what? What did the therapist say?
Do whatever you
That was another kick.
And I thought about it, and I thought, well, I've stood by his side all these years. We have a daughter together, and, one day she's going to hear about this or read about it, and she's going to ask me, Mom, why weren't you by his side? So I was there for my daughter's father. And I also had nothing to hide. I had done nothing wrong. I had nothing to hide.
Okay. And we all hear that and understand that, but it had to be, and I don't know anything worse than being humiliated in public. And to stand there and to feel a sense of, I'm sure you did, a sense of humiliation. Yeah. Even though you had done nothing wrong. Yeah. Were you, like a lot of women, going through your mind about why I didn't see the signs?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've asked myself that question many times. In retrospect, there were signs, but, each one, and I'm sure, we've all had signs of things that have happened to us, whether it was our spouse cheating on us or, something else.
More kicking. There's a kick.
They're individual and they happen separately, so you don't know what they mean, or they don't mean anything, and you just, put them out of your mind. In retrospect, looking back, absolutely there were signs.
Well, in court papers that were filed just recently,
Another one.
Jim Magrudy writes
Another
that
one.
he knew. He says, Dina knew of my sexual orientation before our marriage, and she chose to ignore it or to block it out of her mind, even when questioned by friends.
Absolutely not true.
Yes,
I did see that. Absolutely not true.
In the court papers, he also accuses you of being in deep denial. Would you say that's true?
No. I don't think that's true. I am not in denial. He's accusing me of being homophobic. That's absolutely not true. That's ridiculous. I am not in denial, but I don't think he's simply gay. I think he's bisexual. I mean, he was married twice. He has 2 children. And, you know, I never saw him checking out men, but I certainly saw him checking out women.
Okay, so and obviously he checked you out.
Right, yes.
Because the most obvious, you know, I don't want to get so personal here, but the most obvious question is, were you having sex in your relationship? That's an obvious question that I have to ask.
Yes, and there was no red flag. You know, I had no complaints, and he never complained to me.
So you thought you had a normal sexual relationship?
I thought we had a normal relationship. There was absolutely nothing to indicate otherwise.
Okay. But you said that there were signs, so we're going to talk about some of those signs, because there are lots of people, I understand there are about 500,000 people in the United States of America who get this news at some point in their marriage that their spouse is gay. So we'll be back in a moment to talk about that.
Okay, well, I'm going to turn the camera off.
What Jim says about the intimate moments of your marriage.
I think we've seen a lot of movement today. So that's enough for today, and everything's wonderful and great. I love you, sweetheart. Mommy loves you. Oh, big belly.
No matter what your day throws at you, you can have a great meal. M&M Meat Shops has hundreds of meal ideas that are delicious, fast, and easy. Because when time isn't on your side, we are. If we were all the same, we'd all age the same way. But we don't. The new Aveeno positively ageless serum. With a natural shiitake complex, it actually self-adjusts your unique skin, providing visibly younger looking skin.